Welcome to Job Tales, the podcast where you listen to professional stories and find a job that suits you. Perry is more than just a diving instructor and business owner. At 73 years of age, he is a source of inspiration about life, work, entrepreneurship, and courage. Perry, we're in a boat right now and in Rhodes, Greece. And thank you so much. It was really nice to meet you. I would like to ask what you used to do because now you're retired, and I would love to know how were your years here on the island working. What did you do?
Well, I first came from Canada in 1979. I started a boat business. I bought a boat and I started to do excursions with it. But because I had a hobby back in Canada diving, I always wanted to do something with diving. So I worked for a few years with a boat as excursions along going to Lindos and going to the east coast of the island, basically. And what happened then was I tried to get a license here. And back in those days when I came, that was back in 1979, 78, 79. They had restrictions. The archaeology did not allow any diving.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. They didn't allow any diving because of these archaeological finds. So for a few years, I tried to get a license, which was very difficult. But once I established myself here in Rhodes, after 5-6 years, I finally got to the Ministry of Tourism. And back then it was Melina Mercouri. She was the minister. So I went in and had an appointment with her and discussed all the possibilities that the advantages of having a diving school in Greece. It would be an advantage putting Rhodes on the map as attracting more tourism and alternative tourism, which is sports. So I talked to, I had an interview with her for I think 2 or 3 times. I went to her office, and at the end, she gave me permission to be able to dive in a certain area in 300 square meters.
Were you the first one to do diving?
No, there was another person before me, which he back then the law didn't exist. So he was working for a few years. He retired, so. The problem started after with the archaeology department when the new school was supposed to open. Anyway, I solved it by getting permission to dive only in Kalithea, in an area which was designated only for diving. So I started there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started there. So it's 300 square meters. So
Were you an instructor already?
No,
You
I
were
wasn't.
no instructor.
No,
Okay.
it was my hobby.
Okay.
But because I love the sea and boats and diving, I decided to do something which was new in Greece back then.
So the 70s, was it the beginning of scuba diving in the world, or was it already well established?
No, it was established in different parts of the world. It was like in Thailand and Great Barrier Reef in Australia. It was very popular for diving in the Red Sea, in Egypt, and so forth. But because of the archaeological finds here, the government decided, well, actually not the government, the archaeology department forbid diving because they were afraid of people stealing the artifacts below or destroying the artifacts. But at the end, everything turned out okay. I got a small area where I could dive, and Kalithea was nice. They had some caves underneath, and it was an interesting place.
So you were not an instructor, but in order to bring, customers down in the sea, did you have to have a license back then?
Yeah, of course. Then when I started the work, then I went and I got my instructor's license.
Okay. Where did you go?
In Athens.
In Athens.
They had diving schools back then.
Okay.
But it was all very, very restricted. So it wasn't like a popular sport because they wouldn't allow diving. So anyway, I went there. I got my instructor license there, and then I returned and started to work. I bought a boat. It was a fishing boat, a Danish fishing boat, the first one. So I started with that. My goal was coming to Greece to have a small business. I didn't want to have something complicated
Mm.
and big. I just wanted to a quiet, easy life on the
Easy
island,
life,
right?
okay. Because
So,
you're actually Greek, but you grew up in Canada, is
yeah,
that it?
exactly.
And what were you doing in Canada before you
School.
left?
I was still in school.
Ah, you were still in school.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. So you
yeah,
finished
for,
your studies.
yeah.
What did you study?
I did quite a few things. I studied homeopathic medicine for a while. It wasn't for me. I started electronic engineering.
Okay.
Too much mathematics wasn't for me. At the end, I liked the ocean, so I decided to become an oceanographer.
Mm.
So back then, it was only three universities in Russia, Hawaii, and Scripps University in Los Angeles that offered oceanography. So I applied there. I got accepted in Scripps, and they told me I needed 13 years to finish.
Wow.
Yeah,
13 years.
13. So I decided, okay, I couldn't spend 13 years so back then it was like a fashion where people would take 1 year off or 2 years off and go to and travel a bit. So, and that's what I did. I started traveling a bit. I went to the Caribbean. I went to South America. I went to a few places decided to travel for a year. But then the year became 2 years. And the 2 years became three. And next thing I knew, 10 years I was traveling around the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, on a boat or just any
No,
kind of.
just
Okay. What were you doing during the 3 years? How did you sustain yourself?
well, in Jamaica, I was living with the Rastafarians,
Okay.
so I didn't have to work.
Okay.
But after a while, I did many things. Like the first business I ever did was in Jamaica. There was some fishermen with canoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the tourists coming to Jamaica, and I saw that they didn't have much to do there. So I went to a river where they had some waterfalls there. It was called the Grand River, and I went and I got the fishermen together. So I went to the hotels. I started with a few tourists, and we went up the river. I was doing an excursion before you knew it.
Ah,
After I spent 2 years there.
okay.
So after a few months, more fishermen wanted to come in the evening because they were doing nothing to make extra money. So from 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, and it was a thriving business.
No way. So excursions with fishermen.
Yeah, canoes. They had
Canoes.
dugout canoes
They
from,
got canoes. Okay.
yeah, and we put some torches along the side of the riverbank, and we go up there, and at the very top we got a local band to play, and we did some limbo dancing, and we had
Okay.
some drinks and some food, barbecue, and it turned out to be a very
Successful.
successful,
Oh,
very
fantastic.
successful.
That was in the 70s, was
Yeah,
it?
70. It was 74.
74.
Yeah,
Okay. When I was
75.
born. And then
Back then.
from there you came to Greece?
No, I kept on traveling. I went to
Okay.
South America. I went around half the world actually,
Oh,
traveling and just learning about the different cultures. I was always looking for because I was interested in
parapsychology.
parapsychology and anything to do with like in villages where they had the shamans performing different rituals to heal people and I was always interested in that and traveling and looking and experiencing the
Learning.
different cultures. Yeah,
Mm.
so I did that quite a few years, and then decided to come back
Was
to
there a trigger that made you decide
to
to
come
come
back.
back? Yeah.
Yeah, I just had enough. I think of traveling, and I
Okay.
wanted to experience something else.
Okay.
So I went back to Canada, and that's when I did my. I started to do homeopathic medicine because I was interested in natural medicine. But after traveling so much, and I couldn't sit at a desk. It was impossible for me just to sit in one place.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, okay, that I'll leave, and I went to Europe, and
Okay.
I went to Europe, and I went to Holland, in Amsterdam, and I had a girlfriend back then, so we bought a car and we drove all the way through Europe down to through Turkey, down through Syria, and to Egypt. We went to visit the pyramids.
Okay.
And then on the way back, I decided to stay in Holland, and my girlfriend decided to go back. So on my travel, I met some people, and I did another business with cars, used cars. So I was transporting cars to Syria.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing to do
So
with boating or
no,
scuba
no,
diving. Okay. You were transporting cars to Syria.
yeah, to Syria. So I started
Amazing.
off with 1, 2 cars, and then they wanted more and more. Then I would rent a big truck. I would put 8, 9 cars in the truck and
You
go
would drive
down.
yourself?
At the beginning, I was driving myself, but then I had a friend in Munich. He was studying medicine. So I went to the university and I put up ads for drivers. I would pay for their expenses and also for their hotel and their plane ticket back. But I couldn't afford to pay a salary or anything. So it was just for the experience of drive. And I had many people wanting to drive. So I would have convoys of 4, 5 cars, 6 cars driving to Syria.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. You seem to have a very,
Mm.
like a big talent for entrepreneurship and creating
Yeah, well,
business.
yes, yes. Well, I
Um,
had to in a way because when traveling, I had to make money also.
mhm.
So I had to
It was
find
a
ways of making
necessity
money.
and a
And
virtue.
yeah,
Okay. Fast tracking now to Rhodes and to the scuba diving. How did you start? You said you did buy a boat first?
yeah. I bought a boat in Denmark, and I started bringing it down through the Mediterranean. And once we arrived here I went to Crete. I wanted to do something in Crete, but the weather wasn't so good, and the open sea. It was always rough there.
Yeah.
So I came to Rhodes.
Okay.
So my option was to go to Australia, to the Great Barrier Reef, to
Okay.
start there, a boat business with diving. But coming to Greece and to Rhodes, I decided, okay, I'll stay here. Stay here. And I started here.
You started here,
Yeah.
and how did you start? What was your first? What were your first operations?
Well, with the boat I did excursions to, like I said
First excursions.
in the beginning. We went to Lindos, back
Mm-hmm.
and forth. The boat only had passengers of, I think it was 49 people, only 49. So
Yeah.
I was doing that.
Okay. And then once you got the license to
Yeah, after
dive,
once I got the license to dive, I started the
you
diving, of
started
course,
diving. Okay.
So we started the diving, and from 20 people, we went to 50 people, to 60 people. Next thing you know, we're over 100 people diving.
But I
Yeah.
can think that it must be costly to actually start the business because there's a lot of equipment. There's a lot of, you need to also provide wetsuits and
Exactly. Yeah.
bottles and
It's the initial cost of
the
buying
initial.
everything. But
Yeah. How
then,
did you provide for that initial
well,
cost? Did
I
you
was
have
working
something?
for 2 years with the boat going to Lindos.
So you did some
So I
savings
saved
there?
the money there,
Okay.
and then I bought the equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I met
100 people was
Yeah, it was reach up to 100. Then I had to buy another boat and then hire more people. The next thing you know,
you make it
the
sound
uh,
so easy.
well, it's time. It's not everything didn't happen overnight.
Right.
Everything happened from season to season.
Yeah.
Back then, it was the demand for scuba diving.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
was it
I
was
was
the
the only one.
booming
I
the
was the only one here.
okay.
Yeah,
So can you say that it was successful, your business?
yeah, very
Very
successful,
successful?
very successful.
Okay.
Because we reached to a point where we had so many people. Then I had to hire 5 people, then 10 people, and at the end, I went to Turkey and I built a boat, 28-meter boat that held 270 people.
Oh
And
wow.
then I hired and then back then we had 35 instructors working.
Oh wow. A
It was the
lot.
biggest diving
It's an
school in Europe,
enterprise. Yeah. Oh,
actually.
is it?
Yeah,
Really?
it turned out to be,
The
yes.
biggest diving school in
Yeah, in
Europe.
Europe, because we were diving every day to 200 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. And how about competition? Did it come later
Yeah,
on?
after, yes. As soon as it's always competition comes, once they see that
That
something is
it
working,
works. Yeah, okay.
then so it was my company was called Dive Med.
Uh-huh.
So this, from Corfu, a Scottish and Dutch guy and a Greek guy, they They were partners there with a diving school called Water Hoppers. So they came across, and they opened here a diving center. But competition is good. But what they did, it wasn't very nice. They came and they offered 45% to the agencies,
Oh,
where I used to only give 7%, 8%.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
So
that's a big jump in
yeah, so they
commission.
came and in a way, they
They bought the
destroyed the
market.
business. The only way to survive then, for me, that's why I went to Turkey and I built this bigger boat. And
Okay.
I brought it across, and then we were taking 200 people plus another 50, 60, 70 passengers. The capacity was 270 on the
That's
boat.
scuba diving or something else?
Scuba diving,
Scuba
yeah,
diving?
only scuba diving,
Okay.
yeah. So about the business itself, we had an intro diving, introduction. We had experience diving, and we had a section for people taking diplomas. So it was a school.
Like paddy
Yeah,
or like
I had PADI, I had NAUI, I had
SSI? Is it
European
a SSI?
uh, hmm?
What's it called? SSI, the one?
SSI.
SSI.
I'm instructor in SSI.
Yeah.
In a German also company. I mean, we had all sorts of
Certifications. You could give the certificates from
yeah,
different
from different, because we
organizations.
had Rhodes is international, so
Yeah.
we had to have, and the instructors had to be all with different languages. So we hired people French speaking, German speaking, Swedish speaking,
Incredible.
English,
Yeah.
so forth.
What do you think were the hardest parts of your business? Where did you find it hard and difficult?
Fighting for the license.
Yeah.
And then when the competition came, trying to do something better, that's why I went and bought the boat, and I tried to offer a better service.
What did you find was easy?
I don't know. For me, I never, I never think of something being hard or easy. I just put in my mind what I want to do, and that's something which I learned through my travels. Like, if you really want to do something, we are basically creators. We have the capability of creating something. So,
As human beings, right?
just like the Bible says, we are the image of God. God is a creator. So, we also have this ability to create. So, the whole idea, in my way of doing a business, is to put in the mind exactly what I want. I never used to write things down, but now getting older, I do write things down. But I put clearly in my mind exactly, step by step, what I have to do. I visualize it, that it's already done. It's finished. It's not. There's not going to be any hindrance or anything. And the whole idea is to focus on that idea and not to let any other side energies coming in and pulling you left and right.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is to go forward and to achieve the goal.
And so
Yeah.
all the businesses that you've done in the
Mm.
past, from Jamaica and Holland and Greece, do you know what happened to them? Like, are they still thriving businesses?
Yeah. Well, in Jamaica, I went back. What I started there is a whole thriving business.
Okay.
It's huge. It's huge there.
Uh,
Yeah.
and what
Mhm.
about the
Mm.
diving in Greece? Does it still exist, the
Of
diving
course, now
company?
it's free. You can dive where you want.
No, I mean your business.
No, my business, it sort of faded away. It closed. It closed down because, yeah, I got ill because I went through this illness, and then also for the age, I decided to stop and to retire in a way. So, uh, I don't know. It just faded away. My brother passed away, so he couldn't continue the business. I had a nephew, which I when he was young, he would go diving with me. I mean, he was so small, I would take the scuba tank in one hand and take him under my other hand with a regulator, and we'd go diving. So he became instructor
Oh,
after,
nice.
yeah. So the competitor now, actually, he's a shareholder.
Ah,
and
okay.
the competitor. So he continued. So for the idea to close down the school, I made a deal that my competitor would take my nephew and my business, everything that he would take over. So my boat, I used it for other thing, and at the end I sold it. Yeah.
How much do you think that your travels have influenced your life and your business decisions?
Well, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all, because if you go to school, like it's like a programming there. It's they teach you a certain way. They don't teach you how to be a business person, or they teach you more how to be part of society and to work in the society, and be part of it, not to be separate for the masses, you know. So my experience was with traveling and meeting so many people, and talking with very interesting people. It just opened my mind in a different perspective, completely different. And I learned, because through spirituality, I learned that we have a power within us, that we are creators, like I said before. And the whole idea was, anything that I did in my life, that's what I would do. I would form a mold. For example, when you think of something, and you have a clear picture of what you want to do, then in the ethers there's a mold being produced automatically. So the law of nature is that the creative force flows into that mold automatically. It cannot do otherwise. So it depends on the person, how strong he is, how focused he is, and how the inner power he has to keep that mold there and strong enough and attractive enough for this energy to flow in. And then all of a sudden, as you go along, all of a sudden things fall into place.
Is there something that you would have done differently in hindsight, looking back?
No, I never regret anything. I look always forward. Whatever experiences I had, I use them as an experience and to better myself and to go forward. So I never look back at something. Uh, Actually, all negativity and all the difficulties and everything that I went through, I think of them as a stumbling block, but then at the same time, use it as a lesson, and then gain strength from that, and then move on to something else. Yeah,
Yeah.
never disappointed.
Thank you, Perry, for this inspiring conversation. Keep listening to my podcast. All comments are welcome. You find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Just type Job Tales, Tales. Bye for now.